All right, let's get to business on a Monday. We got a special episode today. Somebody decided they felt like an honest day's work. TJ Lang joining us, and it's not football season.
Been a while.
Are you okay? You going to be able to do this? Yes.
I always get excited when the invite gets offered.
Yeah,
about 30 minutes ago, I had some deep regrets.
I know you were in the middle of show prep and you realized you had to offer an expose today. This is big. Look,
no tiptoeing today.
No, you can't because, and again, I'll give TJ the cover he needs. TJ is speaking for himself with the express written consent, not of the Detroit Lions, but of 97-1 The Ticket. But Jalen Carter's here today, and much like we did this last week with C.J. Stroud, Jalen Carter has been a flashpoint all offseason. That he is going number one, now he's not going number one. And, well, the Lions could take him, the Lions might not take him. Are there character concerns? Look, I've said to you guys, and then I don't know why that just happened, but away we go. The point is, we've got David in here doing tech services. This is tremendous. I am completely unemotional about Jalen Carter. If they take him, fine. If they don't, also fine. I'm not doing what Rico's doing. Rico's basically threatening people's lives if they don't take Jalen Carter, and I'm like, I can't feel that strong. But you've been hearing things that might guide people a certain way.
True. I don't like that you preface it with that, but
I'm kidding.
Listen, I'm in the same page as you, Mike, where I love the football player Jalen Carter. I do. It's hard not to by watching the film. 3-down guy, those guys are hard to find, right? And I think that when you combine that with the fact that that's probably, after free agency now, still the biggest weakness on this team for the Lions is that interior guy. I know, David, what are you doing?
I can't help but David pounding a keyboard next to you. He's doing the best he can.
Back in.
Somehow Doug and Scott did a show without a call screener. So you think they would have mentioned that to somebody. All right, go ahead, TJ, as you were.
But I do have concerns. I do. I think.
What are you hearing?
Well,
Let's get to
not
it.
only what is obviously has been very public over the last month, right? We obviously knew what happened at the Combine and the misdemeanors, the arrest, whatever you want to call it. After that, a couple weeks later, the pro day, right, shows up 9 pounds heavier, can't finish the drills. Those to me were red flags. Maybe not major, but certainly if you're going to take a guy that high, you certainly don't want to have those type of flags pop up if you're going to make that type of investment in a player. But listen, I mean, hey, you don't need to siren me here. Obviously playing 10 years in the league, you have connections, you have different, go ahead. You have people that you talk to, and I was curious about Jalen Carter. I really was. Because
you went on a fact-finding.
You want to know what kind of, you just want to know what kind of, we all know what kind of player he is.
All right, lay it out to the people.
You want to know what kind of guy he is. And there was just an overall consensus that there's a lot of concern with either immaturity, guy making bad decisions, guy just you don't have to do that either.
Breaking news at the 97.1 The Ticket broadcast compound. TJ Lang reporting Jalen Carter, bad guy.
Allegedly. I don't know the guy. Allegedly.
So you have legit concerns of taking him at 6.
I do have concerns. I do. Because, listen, and I thought that they obviously had him in today for a visit, so they're obviously still doing as much possible homework as they can. Can it be that the guy's just a young kid that was living on cloud 9, won a national championship, getting all this clout and all these awards and made a couple bad decisions? Sure, it could be that way. What concerns me, though, is, and let me rewind a little bit. I think a couple weeks ago, they were going after Calais Campbell because they knew if you're going to bring in a guy like Jalen Carter that has some issues,
mentor,
you have to have that veteran presence in the room that is going to show him how to become a professional.
That's what I explained to the people when people were all up in arms. They're going, well, he's 35. I go, guys, you don't get it. He could walk into any locker room in the league, and people are going to listen to him.
Instant respect. Instant. And that's something that comes with longevity in this league. You look at their defensive line now. Sure, Aiden Hutchinson, I think, has great qualities to become a leader. He's going into a second year, right? Ali McNeil, some of these other young guys, James Houston, right? These are guys that don't have a lot of experience yet in the league. And for me, when I was playing, I always knew that leadership came with experience. You can't be a young guy. The coaches will tell you, but the locker room knows. If you're going to be a young guy that really hasn't done much in the league yet and you try to become that captain, that leadership type guy, there's going to be some guys that look at you and say, okay, we respect you, but you respect the veterans, the Calais Campbells, the Michael Brockers of the world, because they've done it, and they've done it for a long time, and they've done it at a high level. So when I hear about Jalen Carter, when I hear about some of the things that we obviously know the mistakes that he's made the last couple months.
Yeah, but you're hearing about stuff that has nothing to do with that.
Yeah, it's things that probably could be resolved if you have a good, proven veteran group. And look, I know the defense and the team, sure. The offense, Jared Goff is a great leader. Frank Ragnow, Decker, all those guys are great leaders. You don't see the defensive linemen very often. Those guys are in their room. You're in your room. Right. They're out there at their group. You know what I mean? So just because you might have some good leaders on the team doesn't mean you're going to interact necessarily face-to-face too much with other guys in different position groups. It just doesn't happen.
All right, so let's do this.
That concerns me, that there's no real – if Jalen Carter does have those issues.
Level of concern, scale of 1 to 10. Simplify this for the people before I throw the number out. Level of concern that Jalen Carter's a bad dude.
Probably a 6.
Holy hell.
7.
Okay, then. 248-539-9797. That's what we wanted. Now we got you across the bridge.
I don't like the term necessarily bad dude, because listen, and this is, hey, it could be, we all know this is smokescreen season. People tell lies, right? We get it. But yes, I think the concern level is a little bit higher than what you would like.
All right, so
at that position.
Let's do this. We're a little over a week from the draft. Jalen Carter is here today. He's going to get to make his case to Brad Holmes, Dan Campbell, and whoever the hell else has questions about him, because one of their 30 pre-draft visits are going to this guy. They spend time with you. They drill down on you, and it's way more than just heads of security who dig into your background and your crazy uncle and what you did in 9th grade. This is now TJ saying it's not just the stuff you've read in the paper. He's hearing whispers. He talks to people. He's concerned. 6.5, 7 out of 10 concerns about Jalen Carter. I want to know where that puts you, the people. Because I've told you, I am unemotional about it. If Brad Holmes, who I think has done an elite job helping rebuild this thing, and Dan Campbell, if they believe risk it biscuit, then I'm going to go along with it. But if they don't, I'm unemotional, because I will also trust that they go, nope, landmine. We're going a different way. I've said for months now. I remember talking to you months ago, and I brought up Tyree Wilson. I did this the other day. I said, look, people act like there's only, 2 good D linemen or 2 good edges in this draft. I go, look at Tyree Wilson. Lions apparently have a high grade on him. Squeaky clean character. Can play inside or out. Great against the run. Crazy wingspan. Crazy motor. That's not a lose.
Yeah.
But I want to know from the people. Now that you're sitting there, and again, TJ, you have to understand, I know you don't listen every day because you're always at youth hockey, but the amount of people that call in going, you have to take Jalen Carter, is equaled by the amount of people who call up and go, I don't want nothing to do with him. So I think it's fascinating as we start the day today, on a day he's here in town at the lovely Rotunda Complex.
Now, here, I will say this. If they do take Jalen Carter, I think that would ease some of my concerns, because that means that they've done as much homework as possible. They're comfortable bringing in a guy like that might have those issues, but they feel confident enough that either Dan Campbell, the approach that he has with players, the respect that the players have for him,
the accountability,
the leadership that he has is going to be enough to make this kid fit in, right? If they don't take – now, look, if they don't take him, I'm not going to say, oh, that's because they think he's a complete horrible person.
Oh, I'm going to.
But if they end up taking him, Mike, I'm like you. I would obviously be thrilled, because the guy is a hell of a football player and a position that they need on this team. And I think if they take him too, that would give me a little bit of comfort knowing that, hey, they think that, listen, maybe some of the reports were overblown. Maybe some of these things, hey, not everybody knows all the circumstance, right? I certainly get that as well.
So what it says, honestly, David, I know you know, and please jump in when you want. What it says is he's got making up to do today on this visit. Look, it's clear, no disrespect to TJ. But if TJ's hearing all this from his league contacts, what the hell do you think their people have got? He's got making up to do today on this visit. And I've said to you, I've been Switzerland on this kid because I don't know him. And I said, ultimately, they're going to get to know him. Now, what I didn't care about, I'm open. I don't care about the speeding can you play football?
Yeah.
The rest of it, I leave up to my GM and my coach. They know the kid, you take the kid. I think for years the Lions have hurt themselves because they've been more concerned with, are you a nice person, than can you play ball? Look, Frank Clark is a terrible human being. Frank Clark is also one of the best sack artists in postseason history. I want that guy, not when my laptop's around, but when I'm in the AFC Championship game.
Yeah, you're right.
Period.
And you have to have guys like that.
I think you need a couple.
You do.
So I have stayed very in the middle on this, and I'm letting it play. But when you tell me, Mike, I'm about a 7 out of 10 concern, a 6.5 out of 10 concern with what I'm hearing, beyond the news reports, yeah, I pay attention to that. I want to know if the listeners do.
See, Mike, let me real quick, TJ, let me give you credence to what you're saying about he has to sell teams. Because in the Football Morning in America by Peter King, Drew Rosenhaus is quoted as saying, the goal has been to educate teams about Jalen and the case on who he is. It hasn't been an easy process, but I do think it's been good for Jalen to get out and see the team. So, yes, he's selling the teams on who he is beyond what the news story and headlines are saying.
It hasn't been an easy process. See, that's where that concerns me a little bit, too, because it should be an easy process. You know, as a kid, a 21-year-old kid getting ready for the draft, you have to, line up your ducks in a row for like 3 months, right? Let me nail the combine. Good. Let me nail the pro day. Good. Let me nail these interviews. Good. You get trained on all of that. Agents don't just throw you into with other teams with no training on how to do interviews, no training on how to, quote-unquote, sell yourself to these teams, right? These guys go through exhaustive training on how to do that and how to nail these. Everything I just mentioned. So him saying it hasn't been an easy process also kind of makes you question, well, what's been so hard about it, right? Like, what is going on behind closed doors that we're never going to know about that is making this so incredibly difficult?
Probably what you're hearing from your league contacts.
Well, but it's got to be. It's not football related. That's the point. If you just turn on the film and watch this kid play and never interviewed him, it would be a damn easy process for him. He's one of the best 3 talents in this draft class based off of football. And that's something that, honestly, Mike, like you, I put more stock into that.
Yeah.
I think, but if you're the Lions, if you're a team that has worked so hard the last 2 years to do this thing right, to bring in the right guys, bring in the right characteristics, bring in the right type of leaders, if you get it wrong with one player that is number 6 pick that's going to come in feeling some sort of immortality, it can go sideways really quick.
Well, here's the other question. And I'm the ultimate swing for the fences person with the draft. I don't really care about the floor. I care about how high the ceiling is. TJ, you can make the case, I'd rather get a good player who's going to work his ass off and come in than take a chance on a great player who could bomb out. And I never say that, but this team's going to win this division. We're going to have a home playoff game. I think they have the capability to make a run at a Super Bowl. Now, this pick at 6, it's one of the most important picks in the history of this team because they are at that point, and if they draft a Sewell, if they draft a Hutchinson, if they draft a Sauce Gardner, if they draft one of these guys who walks in the door, like when the Giants drafted Kayvon last year.
Anthony Richardson.
Yeah, whoa, buddy. Whoa.
Trying to slip it by you.
He took a pause.
Yes.
Oh.
Oh, no.
Almost got one in there.
You did. But no, you get my point is if you get one of those impact guys, it's going to have a direct effect on them making the most meaningful playoff run they've had in 30 years.
100%.
So I think it's okay to factor it in. So let me throw the number out. This is up to you guys. I have been unemotional about Jalen Carter. TJ, talking to his league people, concern meter, roughly a 7 out of 10, potential bad guy.